Hi everyone, it's Lynn McComas. I am the nurse practitioner owner of Preceptor Link, and I wanted to give some of you students some tips and suggestions that you can try to help find your own preceptor. So first thing that you want to do is to know your school's requirements for this rotation and this particular preceptor. So you want to know that what type of site you can use, the location, the work experience required, and you also want to know the exact dates, beginning and ending for your rotation, as well as the number of hours and any due date. A lot of times students miss the due date that they have to make submissions. So go into this prepared with that information first and foremost, and have it written out. So the next thing that you want to do is take this prior information and include it in a cover letter that you want to create that will include that information, as well as talk about any strengths that you might have that particularly pertain to this rotation or interests. And then you want to update your resume and make sure that your resume includes your particular strengths, certifications, specializations. Make sure that it's current and up to date and includes your school and the fact that you're in your summary that you're looking for a clinical preceptor for this type of rotation. So you might need to redo your resume each time you submit for a new type of preceptor. And when in your cover letter, you might want to also mention that you're willing to postpone if that's an option, because sometimes a preceptor might not be able to take you for the rotation dates that you're looking at, but they might have an opening the next time. And if you have to sit out 2 or 3 months, but you can get that rotation done, sometimes that's worth it. So the next thing that you want to do is network. Networking is so important. And really everyone is an opportunity, whether it's friends, relatives, physicians, colleagues, fellow students, anybody, and let everyone know that you are looking for a preceptor, and utilize all of the different networking opportunities that you have. I would encourage you to join your professional nurse practitioner organizations. This is both your local as well as your National Nurse Practitioner Association. I'm a big fan of our nurse practitioner professional organizations. I've always been a member, even from when I was a student, of our local chapter, and I've held many positions, and it's a great networking opportunity. It can also be a great way to get a job. And AANP, I think we should all be a member of that. These are our organizations that are fighting for our profession. So if you do join your local chapter, try to ask if you can stand up, introduce yourself, be brave, be bold, be confident, have your resume in hand with your cover letter, and ask if anybody would be willing to precept you. That's a great way to find a preceptor. Other things that you can do include utilizing the many Facebook groups that are out there. There are so many nurse practitioner Facebook groups. And just put a pleasant, friendly little synopsis of what you're looking for. Make it personal so you stand out. And a lot of times you can find a preceptor. And if you're willing to pay, sometimes you can mention that as well, and that can open doors. One of the things that's really important to know is what affiliations your school has in place. So are they affiliated with the local hospitals? If you can find out which of your local hospitals, or even the ones in your state, if you're willing to travel, or in other states, if you're willing to travel, have affiliations in place with your school, that can really open doors and make a huge difference. So if you can press your school for that information, many of the schools do have that posted on their sites, but some of them you just have to ask and beg and see if you can get that information, because it can really be a game changer for you, especially for acute care, nurse practitioner students, and inpatient, anything that's inpatient. It makes a huge difference, because the fact of the matter is that large hospitals and large institutions, they're just not adding new affiliations as a general rule. So if you can find out where your school has affiliations, it can be a real game changer. So now it's time to just hit the ground running, and there's different ways that you can do this. If you have to go knocking on doors, sometimes it's phone calls, sometimes it's cold calling, sometimes it's showing up at your local practices. If you do show up, make sure you're dressed professionally, you've got your resume and your cover letter in hand. Try and get to the gatekeeper, the office manager, or somebody who might open the door to the preceptor, and be prepared. You never know, you might be able to speak directly with the preceptor. So just be prepared for that opportunity. And if you're calling again, you can try asking for the office manager. Sometimes that's not the easiest thing. But persistence pays, and being polite and friendly and open is really going to help, make a difference. One of the things that students do sometimes have to do is travel. And we all want to be 5-10 minutes from our preceptor, and sometimes we get lucky, but the reality is it's such a competitive market. So if you are an RN who is in a compact state and you have a multi-state compact license, many times this opens up opportunities for you, especially if you're a PMHNP student, or if you're in a border state, or if you have friends or family, or even the willingness to stay in a hotel or Airbnb, you might be able to find a preceptor in another location that has an opening or is available and willing. And so making sure that your compact license is up to date, or that your license in another state is up to date, that can open up doors. Do check with your school, make sure that they allow you to travel to these other schools. Some schools do, some schools don't. Some states have a very closed environment to outside schools, like New York and Oregon, and some of those are very closed to outside schools. So check all of that ahead of time to be prepared. So last but not least, just be persistent. Persistence pays, diligence pays, knowing your information, all of it pays off. And if you need help, we are here to help at www.preceptorlink.com, and nurse practitioner owned. We understand the profession because we're in the profession. Feel free to reach out to us if you need help. Sometimes it's worth it just to take that burden off your shoulders. All right, everyone, best of luck.